Justice delayed is justice denied. It's more than an adage. For thousands in jails right now, justice can come with a price tag they simply can't afford, as Lee Cowan now explains.
Anger got the better of me. Anger got the better of me.
It was meant to be a noise complaint, but 75-year-old Bill Pizer took it to another level. Back in April of 2017, he got so frustrated with his loud neighbors that instead of just knocking on their door, surveillance cameras captured him pointing a handgun at it and kicking it. That's bad enough. But then the gun went off, accidentally, he says.
I never should have done anything like that. That's a crazy, it's dangerous, irresponsible, uncalled for thing to do. But that's what I did, and I got myself arrested.
No one was hurt, but this retired San Francisco cab driver knew he was in pretty deep trouble. Negligently discharging a firearm was his first thought. But much to his surprise, he found himself charged with attempted murder instead.
The bail was $625,000.
Was that something that you could afford to pay?
Not even close.
So he went to jail. Pretrial detention, it's called.
So how long did you think you were going to be in there?
I thought I was going to be there a few days until these people came to their senses and straightened things out and charged me with what I actually did.
And what happened instead?
What actually happened was I spent 6 months in jail for crimes I never committed.
Bill Pizer, who had never been in trouble with the law before, was locked up for one reason. He didn't have enough money to buy his freedom. And he isn't alone. It's estimated at least 60% of the people in jail today, 60%, haven't been convicted of anything.
The estimates that I've seen are more than 450,000 people today are in jail just because they can't pay a bail.
Almost 500,000 people.
Exactly. It's unfair, inefficient, and a complete cost to taxpayers for no public safety benefit. There's no rationale behind the money bail system.
Phil Telfian is executive director of a nonprofit called Equal Justice Under Law, dedicated to scrapping the cash bail system entirely, all across the country.
We're not arguing that everyone has to be released or everyone should stay in jail. All we're arguing is that wealth status should not be the main criteria for who stays in jail and who's released. That is the opposite of what the framers of the Constitution had in mind when they wrote the Bill of Rights.
In the Constitution, it's the 14th Amendment that guarantees equal protection under the law. But it's the 8th Amendment, where bail is mentioned specifically, saying it shall not be excessive. Last year, a 22-year-old Detroit man was charged with 2 misdemeanors after he fired a paintball gun at an unmarked police car. Although he had a clean record, the judge set bail at $30,000.
$30,000? Yes, sir. Okay.
The purpose of bail was to allow people to pay it and then incentivize them to come back to court.
And what has it become now?
It has become punishment.
Robin Steinberg, a retired public defender in the Bronx, has watched the impact of cash bail unravel her clients' lives for years.
People being held in on cash bail will plead guilty 90% of the time so they can go home.
And right then, at that moment, they're obviously not thinking of what that means on their record years down the road. They just want to get out of jail.
Oh, sure. And I stand there helpless as a public defender going, but you're not guilty. And the client will say to me, I don't care. I need to go home. I need to get back to my children. I need to get back to my family. I need to get back to my job.
Private bail bonds companies get people out of jail all the time. It's a $2 billion a year industry in this country.
We understand that people just don't have that kind of money sitting around, but bail provides that.
Gloria Mitchell is a second-generation bail bondswoman in Pomona, California.
Of course, we can't do it for free because we're putting our name to guarantee.
Her fee is generally about 10% of the bail amount. That's money the accused offenders don't get back, even if they're found innocent. That's what happened to Alex Kundal after he says he was wrongly accused of attacking a man on a street near his home.
I never assaulted him, never abused him, never put my hand on him.
Nevertheless, he was arrested, and his bail set at $150,000. Not only did he have 2 dogs to take care of, he was the only caregiver for his ailing grandmother. So he turned to a bail bondsman to cover the 10% of his bond. It cost him $15,000.
I still owe $8,500.
And how are you paying it back?
Installments
You'll be paying that for
many years.
all because of an accusation.
Of a false accusation, yes.
In fact, a judge threw out his case shortly after his bond was posted. Had he paid the bail himself, he would have gotten all of it back.
We met with the sheriff. We met
It's
with the
stories like that, and worse, that gave Robin Steinberg an idea. Why not step in and pay bail for those who needed it the most, and do it at no cost to them?
The Bail Project is designed to answer that immediate emergency crisis of human beings sitting in jail cells who haven't been convicted of crimes, who are there only because they don't have enough money to pay their bail.
Using philanthropic dollars, she amassed a pot of money that she can use to bail out one client after another without losing a cent.
When you pay bail, if somebody makes their court appearances, the bail comes back at the end of the case.
And then goes out to somebody else.
So the same dollar revolves over and over again.
So far, that revolving fund has bought the freedom of more than 5,000 people since last year.
Set bail in the amount of $15,015.
And guess what?
96% of the time, people come back for each and every court appearance.
96%.
And understand that those court appearances will sometimes go on not just for months, but for years.
This is a perfect stranger that just come to help you. That's a hero.
One of the people she bailed out was Ramal Edwards, who was arrested for riding his bike on a sidewalk.
I didn't have the money to, to get out and fight my charge from the outside.
All he needed was $150, 10% of his bail amount. But without it, he sat in jail for 5 days. That time behind bars cost him his job.
So I'm being punished before I was sentenced.
He tried finding other work, but no one would hire him while his case was winding its way through the legal system.
I had 2 job offers rescinded because of the charges.
After 2 years of fighting, the charges against Ramel were dropped.
He was later hired by the Bail Project to go back to that very same New York City jail where he had given up hope to give hope to someone else.
I'm a hero in training.
Hello?
Grasha Amalaki is also working with the Bail Project. We found her outside Detroit's Wayne County Jail, where she had just made bail for Karina Jones's partner, Brian, who had been locked up for more than a month. He lost his job because he couldn't make the bail, and Karina had to quit hers to take care of their 4 kids.
So happy we were able to get you out.
Finally, some help from somebody. Like, I wasn't getting help from anybody.
I'll give you guys a call sometime later this week and see if there's anything else that you guys need from here on out.
For those who worry there's a public safety risk to releasing those who are accused but not convicted, Phil Telfian says they need look no further than the nation's capital. Washington, D.C. largely did away with its cash bail system back in 1992, and statistics show it has not caused an increase in crime.
When folks are arrested in Washington, D.C., they're not given a price tag. They're simply told to come back to court. Now, in some cases, a judge will decide that someone is too dangerous or too much of a flight risk to come back to court. In Washington, D.C., that's less than 10% of the time.
There are growing efforts to change the system all across the country. Nearly a dozen states have some kind of bail reform legislation pending. New York just moved one step closer to eliminating cash bail following California that did it last year. It's controversial, to be sure, and it's being fought tooth and nail by the bail bonds industry. For Gloria Mitchell, it would be the end of a family business.
You're talking about 3,000 bail agents just losing their jobs. But nobody wants to hear that part of it. They just think that we're here for the money.
Any kind of reform, though, is too late for Bill Pizer, who, like so many others, was punished before he ever saw a day in court. When that day finally came, he was acquitted on all charges.
Your connection to your life as you knew it is broken.
And does it stay broken?
Yes. I will never be the same.